This is your Monday morning market meeting, not on Monday. Decided to try this again. Did Bobby Kennedy save Bitcoin? Did Bobby Kennedy save the big, beautiful bill? Maybe. Let's talk about it. Yesterday, crypto absolutely goes to pieces. Absolutely. For no reason. None. In other words, dollar yen was down and everyone was like, yen carry trade. And then crypto goes back up again. I'm sorry. Dollar yen goes back up again. Crypto down all day. No one has any idea why crypto was down. So let's cut right into it. The big, beautiful bill. They're going to add $3 trillion to the deficit. Okay. Farmer Sam Forrest, welcome. They're going to add $3 trillion to the deficit. I saw a tweet yesterday that it didn't sink in until today. The debt is actually $175 trillion. If you look out and look at entitlements and Social Security and all that stuff. So if that's the case, who cares about $3 trillion? Or whatever the deficit is, who cares? They can print with stable coins through the Treasury, and they can print through the Fed. Now, let's define who cares. Tyler, wrong again. Good morning. This is the morning meeting. They have multiple ways to print. Really, they do. So why is everyone wound up like Elon Musk? Okay, well, Elon Musk is wound up because he wants to go to Mars and he spent $200 million and he's not getting his way. And I'm sure in a lot of ways, Elon is patriotic, but it does feel like a tantrum to me. It does. Now, again, if the debt's $175 trillion, what's another 2 to 3? This is like the orange man's way of thinking about it. He's like, I'm not going to destroy the economy when the debt train wreck is going to happen anyway. It's the opposite of what you would expect early in a president's term, right? In other words, you take the pain early, they say, so you get the recession out of the way, and then things are better later. Not the orange man's style, right? I like them, don't like them, doesn't matter, right? Tyler, Tim to win, what's up? Okay, yeah. Why were they selling yesterday? All right, I have all that. I'm Alex Jonesing this type of thing rather than the whole screen share. So we're gonna get to that. I don't know what happened yesterday. I don't know if they were freaking out over bonds or dollar yen, or they just washed everyone out. That's possible. You could also have had, because I know I was upset yesterday. I mean, YouTube member podcast. I mean, I was inconsolable, terrible, right? So they may have just stopped everybody out. That's it. That's it. They don't need a reason. Meanwhile, Elon tries to start a rebellion on the big, beautiful bill. And then Bobby Kennedy, right? Robert Kennedy Jr., my guy, does an interview with Tucker Carlson talking about, all this medical stuff that he's doing. Can't even say it on social media. And then he kind of throws in at the end that, he thought the orange man was a complete narcissist back before he knew him. And then Bobby Kennedy, who's like, got massive credibility, says, he's actually a thoughtful guy. He's an encyclopedia about certain things, and he's very empathetic. And that was the headline from the interview. So Elon comes out and says all this negative stuff about Trump. And then Bobby Kennedy comes out and smooths it out. And then suddenly, looking at the screen, right? The screen share without the screen share, All of a sudden, Bitcoin's up 2%. Huh, AERO's flying. Solana's back up, headed for 150. What do you know? Now, let's put it together. You start off, everyone panics. I got some historical analysis we'll go through. Everyone panics. Everyone freaks out. Guys like me try to come up with a reason. There were some reasons. Most of them were people just puking. Like I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, particularly since the market was doing really good over the weekend. Saturday, everything was fine. And the market just, all right. I think because of what Bobby Kennedy said on the Tucker Carlson interview, if you're joining us a little late, I think the big, beautiful bill is going through. Now, guys can protest, guys can hem and haw. I think they get it done. I think they're going to have to put more sugar in. I think the guys who are resisting, right? Maybe they're guys getting called out by Elon, or maybe guys want more sugar. Or maybe the market just decided to trade the big, beautiful bill. In other words, just because, $3 trillion is not really a big deal if you look at the long-term scope of U.S. debt and how much printing will be necessary, maybe Bitcoin and all these, all of these cryptocurrencies, gold, bonds, and it's decided to trade it now. Right? Tim to win, smash the likes this morning. Dave, Routine Cheese, what's up? AZ Izar, welcome to the morning meeting. Okay. Now, you had discouragement. This morning, I think you have like the Orange Man's Redemption by Robert Kennedy, quietly, right? In other words, Elon can make all the noise he wants, but Robert Kennedy may have just settled it. So you're going to get the big, beautiful bill, I think. You're going to get Bitcoin reacting to that because Bitcoin hasn't done anything, right? Bitcoin didn't go down when the rest of the market did, and now Bitcoin's probably going to take off and make a new high. Not to mention the fact that whatever you got going on in stonks, right, has to translate over to Bitcoin. You cannot have stonks at an all-time high, sitting there holding that all-time high, and not have Bitcoin just scream and catch up. Because whatever yesterday was about in crypto, it's a gigantic nothing burger. Now let's go back to the original question. Let's talk about all kinds of historical trivia, his analysis about what happens at the beginning of the month. So July 1st, ETH down more than 1%. That hasn't happened that many times. Really, it hasn't. I have 3 or 4 occurrences. Okay, let me get to it. Okay, there it is. Okay, get this. ETH down more than 1% on the first day of July. 5 days later, 2017, it was up 1.8%. 2021, ETH was up 10% 5 days later. In 2022, which was a down year, ETH was up 12% 5 days later. Now I'm like, wow. I mean, normally you want more occurrences than that, but it seemed pretty rare, and it seemed like you got a heavy snapback. Now, again, if you look at the Gann analysis, Saturn, which has been basically sitting on altcoins for 6 months, is going to give us a break, I believe, on the 13th. Sometimes those effects kick in earlier. I got that stuck in my ear. A little bullish, a little too early. But with this ETH analysis, hey, I'm kind of hoping that's over. And I'm kind of hoping big boy Bitcoin bails me out, turns it around, and lets ETH and altcoins recover, because there is a historical precedent for ETH to turn around and go higher when it gets smacked on the first day of July. And I got more. I like the ETH query, and the ETH query allowed me to get to something more, a little bit more unusual, right? I got this data system that I had at Goldman. So this query is, what happens when it's the 30th day of the month? So we just had June 30th. And June 30th falls on a Monday. So I just looked since 2018, kind of like, modern Bitcoin. 2018, when Monday is the 30th of the month. I know it's a little weird, but I was just like, let's take a look at it. Because, one thing about crypto history, these queries, Bitcoin is very sensitive to what happens on Monday, what happens on Tuesday, what happens the last week of the month. I do all these like calendar-based queries. That doesn't really work in equities, but it works great in Bitcoin. Astrology, days of the week, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So when it's the 30th day of the month and it's a Monday, what happens, say, a month and a half later, 45 days? Bitcoin, right? I got like 14 occurrences. It's happened 14 times since 2019, right? Bitcoin is up 90% of the time. The average of all of the moves is 25%. 25% in a month and a half. Now, the catch with this, when I did this 2 days ago, the reason I didn't publish it right away and the reason it's today is it starts off where Bitcoin is kind of weak. The market's kind of weak initially. And I'm like, and I kind of put it away. It's like, I don't want to tell everyone, oh yeah, it's going up over 2 months or it's going up over the next month and a half, but it might get smacked first. I'm like, just leave it. Just leave it, right? Just leave it. But then after the market gets smacked yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm despondent. I'm like, wait a minute. They already got this out of the way. They got it out of the way. And now I'm like, oh, wow. So I have ETH with a tactical bullish historical query, right? ETH down on July 1st, whoop, 10% in the other direction. I don't know if ETH's capable of 10%, but certainly your, SUI, Solana, we could do a little 5-day July 4th surprise because I thought that's what I thought to begin with. And then maybe I'm going to get my way after they smacked it. And then with Bitcoin, like I said, 45 days out, Bitcoin should be higher, even though it's trivia based, but the trivia has some backup because it's big, beautiful bill. Okay. No real reason for the down move. So whatever everybody was afraid of, it didn't come to pass. And the other thing that I was thinking is if you could have a full moon bottom or a full moon liftoff, that's July 10th if I got my data right. So clearly, fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for a jobs number that, believe it or not, shows Powell should have cut earlier, okay? Because I think the louder the orange man gets on Powell, particularly if it shows up in the data, like that's kind of a coin toss. I'm sort of wondering if Bitcoin and crypto can start baking in that he's probably going to have to do 3 rate cuts because of labor market AI related softening, right? Routine Cheese thinks Bitcoin dominance is going to top out at 70. We're almost there. So let's talk about Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is at the premium zone, right? I'm showing it at 65. So you're going to need quite a move to get Bitcoin dominance through that level. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance could go as high as 66, which would be a chunky move in Bitcoin. And hopefully doesn't mean a crash in altcoins because I can't take it anymore, and I don't think you can either. I don't think you can either. But I mean, Bitcoin dominance is like 1 point away from serious resistance. Now, 1 point in Bitcoin dominance can result in a very chunky Bitcoin rally. And I just think that after the altcoin carnage we had the other day, if big boy takes off on the big, beautiful bill, whether it gets passed or it doesn't, right? It passes, they spend $3 trillion, they squabble, they look like idiots. That sounds like buy Bitcoin either way. That sounds like buy Bitcoin no matter what. Great filibuster up at 3:26 a.m. in California. Bro, training for the Navy SEALs with that wake-up time. So what happens if Bitcoin saves the whole market, right? Now, as I talk about the one chart market update, this is like the one sentence market update or morning meeting. Like what happens if you get Bitcoin saving the day? By the way, let's talk about gold. I think we could be looking at a commodities breakout, right? In other words, there's a lot of ways to lower the value of the dollar. You buy the dollar, you sell the dollar, you buy yen or the euro. You sell the dollar, you buy gold. You sell the dollar, you buy oil. You sell the dollar, you buy gold, silver, platinum, blah, 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 blah. That has got to trade over or trickle over to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, all of which have a case. Not to mention the fact that I'm seeing like news articles that like I think Grayscale's got ETFs for all these products, and it's like a non-event. It's like a complete non-event. By the way, if the audio is good, let me know in the comments because I'm going with like a backup microphone. Okay, 8:30 p.m. in Australia, 5:30 a.m. in Kansas City. Welcome to the Who Sleeps in Crypto morning meeting. Now, I am hoping that the first reversal window, like the bigger, let's pretend we get an up move. Let's be crypto Kool-Aid. Let's have our crypto Kool-Aid. I have July 5th through the 7th, right? So maybe it was like down before the holiday, up after, right? We have that, 3-day weekend effect in America. So everybody will definitely be gone by Thursday, right? Whatever everyone's going to do, they're going to do it now, I think, right? I think. Okay, wrong again says I have July 7th. Okay, good, dude. Good. Now for levels, I think even though it's kind of a joke, I think if ETH holds 2,400, the market will be okay. If ETH gives up 2,400, then you could basically take whatever I got going on here, right? I mean, the historical data stuff is cool, and I don't know what the heck happened yesterday, but maybe we don't need to because they're going to trade the big, beautiful bill. Cody, a member, could listen to you ask. Matter of fact, I normally do. All right. Yeah. Find out now. 7 is here. Gentlemen, welcome to the morning meeting, which is a simulation of what you would do at Wall Street in a larger conference room where you would state your views along with everybody else. And here's another, it's another like silly paraphrase. Markets need excuses to go up, but they don't need excuses to go down. Okay. Fear operates in silence while hope needs a crowd. 2 days ago, we mistook boring or higher sideways action for some kind of distribution or selling, obviously. Obviously. Okay. We got a major Saturn event on the 13th. Let's talk about that. Saturn changes the way it looks on a telescope on the 13th. Now, that means Saturn is like the destroyer, right? Literally. So Saturn's been the destroyer of altcoins since January. Kill me that I didn't see this earlier. But then on the 13th, it's supposed to give us a break and like literally give us a break, spin the other way. It's called retrograde. Now, I was kind of thinking sometimes when you get a big move like this with a big Gann planet, sometimes the up move can start early, right? Like the relief. It's like 6 months of this, 800-pound gorilla planet sitting on my bags We're going to get some relief. Okay, we got some relief. But we may be getting it today. We may be getting it today. And Saturn gave us one last slap on the way out. Yeah, I know, that's crazy. But there still was like no reason for yesterday. None. And it may be one of those things where BlackRock got your crypto in advance of whatever's going to go on with the big, beautiful bill. Because I don't think signing that and jacking the deficit up $3 trillion is fully priced in. Thoughts on the miners all walking up while crypto stalls? Dude, look, I've been screaming about crypto equities now, for at least a year and a half, at least 2 years probably. And a lot of them haven't done anything. Well, that's changed, right? Now everyone in everyone in stocks has figured out that, only 22 stocks made a new high. More stocks maybe make a new high if it just sits there, right? There's a saying in equities, don't short the quiet market. It's like the biggest short squeeze, I don't know, this is the biggest short squeeze I've ever seen in stocks. So if, Circle and Coinbase, right, because they're buying the dip in those stocks, right? They're buying any dip in Circle, which I think is crazy, but that's all right because all the Bitcoin miners are going to go up. I mean, if you have Bitcoin dominance at 66, if you have Bitcoin at 115 or 112, right? Top of the premium zone of Bitcoin is like 112, 114. You have Bitcoin at 114 with a stable stock market, you can have 50% up moves in any crypto equity. Any miner, Galaxy Digital, Riot, there are these ETH and Solana treasury companies. I mean, one of the more painful things about yesterday was that alts were down and stonks were up and equities was rugging alt season because you're having like alt season like price action for stocks while crypto just seems to just die. Like I'm just looking through the board this morning, Bitcoin Cash was all the way up in some bizarre move, unwound the whole rally. Now it's stable. SUI is up 3% this morning, and that's notable because there was a Lux Algo buy signal on that 2 days ago. And if you want to hear some additional stuff for everybody who's stuck around, right? The two best altcoins, according to my Gann model for June, were Hyperliquid and SUI. Now, obviously, everything was down in June, but I thought it was interesting going forward that it picked Hyperliquid and SUI as the best altcoins for June because I didn't ask it about price performance. So that's really interesting because, again, they were smacking it yesterday. And then, for July, there are some candidates, right? For comedy, there's Polkadot. And for AI, there's Fetch, right? Artificial superintelligence token. There's got to be an AI surprise. There's got to be, right? It's got to come, right? And I'm thinking based on Gann work, which I won't bore you with, if there's going to be an AI surprise, it's got to be in July. Got to be mid-July, I'm hoping. Okay, let me see if this scrolls. Oh, this does scroll. Okay. Newer, smaller treasury companies. Tyler, time to win. Bill, if some of these cryptos like ETH, Solana, etc. get in ETFs, why would you sell them? Dude, why would you? It's not priced in. Normies, if normies see all of crypto equities going up, they're going to want to buy baskets. Normies don't just buy one thing. There's no such thing as maximalism. Nobody's going to be a circle maximalist in stocks. They're going to be like, oh, wow, we can buy a basket. It's what mutual funds will do. Hey, MicroStrategy, Galaxy, MicroStrategy's preferred stock, and then they'll start branching out into the ETFs. Okay. And you're talking about a traditional crypto winner. Dude, honestly, the last 6 months, if you look at the charts, the last 6 months has been winter in small caps. Everyone we do the YouTube member live stream. Hey, can you look at this chart? The chart looks like this. Boom. Boom. That's the chart. Down, sit. Down, sit. Can't rally. Nothing can rally. Clear pool, right? As one example looking at yesterday. Any small cap AI, maybe with the exception of Tau, any small cap AI. DPIN did this whole report on DPIN for Patreon Platinum. No interest yesterday. They're selling everything. So in many ways, there was an AI agent winter. An AI agent winter, right? And if you go to that podcast we did yesterday, we did all kinds of unusual price prediction, coin picking, right? We actually unveiled, we got out the serious woo, not just Gann. We got the serious woo because when the whole market goes bonkers and I don't know what's going on, I don't mind asking Toby. So, and again, I'm looking at Sui here, starting to do better, up over 3%. Again, the Lux Algo buy signal 2 days ago did not get unwound. It did not. And I'm checking to see if there's a buy signal on the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. Not yet, right? Let me check ETH. Okay, so, the market's up. And of course, when it's 2% down, we're depressed. And when it's 2% up, we're happy. I think at the end of the day, we've discussed seasonal analysis or the date trivia. That's constructive. Could be very constructive. We've discussed the big, beautiful bill has not been traded. Sovereign credibility, not traded. We haven't discussed, the market hasn't thought about what happens if both Bitcoin and gold take off at the same time. At the same time, right? A commodities rally, a way to get the dollar lower. I don't know if anybody's interested in buying the euro. And I think if they buy the yen, that's going to create consternation. Stronger yen is no good. The yen was stronger yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do this again. And you know what? It's another trap for the macro heads. I fall for these things occasionally, right? Everyone's like, 2018, there were no crypto macro guys like me and 2 other people. Now everyone's a macro genius. So when I was like, oh yeah, watch out, it's the yen, I'm trying to find a reason. And the next day it's all unwound. So yesterday we got upset for no reason. And then today, when we wake up and we think about what's good, there's a lot that's good, right? Insane sovereign spending. Orange Man's going to get what he wants. That's what I think. They didn't put the crypto tax provision, probably because they're trying to make the Orange Man give him more stuff because they know he needs it. And at the end of the day, this could mean Bitcoin saves altcoins. Now, if Bitcoin doesn't save altcoins, then I think if you're a trader and you see ETH do a daily close below 2,400, you need to ask yourself just about, trading and risk into the weekend, because the final word is the old word. They love to do big moves on holidays. This big move was down, obviously. Now, is there a surprise rally over the 4th of July? I think we'll find out. And I like the fact that Bitcoin is up 2% on big, beautiful bill news. So I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. That is I keep calling it the Monday market meeting. This is the morning market meeting. Please hit the like button and leave a comment and drive these short feed streams. Let me know if you like the format. Obviously, it's not the screaming into the mic market update format. Let me know if the audio was any good, and we will see you at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern market update today.